I'm Leah Jamieson. I am chair of the steering committee for the NSF-funded National Academy of Engineering's project on the engagement of engineering societies in undergraduate engineering education. And so it is really just a pleasure to welcome this group that includes people, both volunteers and staff, who've been deeply immersed in engineering societies, some deans, some faculty, some representatives from industry, certainly representatives from the National Academy, from NSF. And so we're going to have some pretty great discussions over the next day and a half. We're going to start with a couple of welcomes. Before doing that, I do want to do my own thank you and welcome, is that we have a superb steering committee for this project, and I'd like to ask the members of the steering committee to stand so I can thank you, and in advance, everybody here can thank you for helping put this together. That's you. I know who you are. Thank you all. I will just say a couple words about how I think I ended up here. I know many of you, and I hope to get to know a lot more of you over the next couple days. I'm the Dean of Engineering at Purdue, and I was trying to think back for how long I can say I have been a volunteer with the IEEE. I think I can pin it down to late 70s. So a long time, and in fact, there have been conversations with various heads and deans and even presidents throughout my career at Purdue about, how do you balance this volunteer life and this academic life? It's been a core value for me. And so when I was approached with by representatives from the NAE to say we have sponsorship from NSF for this project, would you be interested in being involved? It was actually one of the most obvious decisions that I could have made, because I think there really are strong connections, but they also both are important paths, and so it's easy to converge, but it's maybe even easier to diverge. And so the opportunity to say, with some intentionality, can we think about what that intersection point is? How can engineering societies be effectively engaged, both from their point of view and from the perspective of those whose lives are in engineering education? And so we have a lot to talk about. I'm going to start by introducing Proctor Reid, who to welcome you all on behalf of the National Academy. Proctor is the Director of Programs at NAE. He's been with the NAE since 1990, and the programs brings pretty much everything, running from finances to people to projects. And so I've known Proctor for a long time. I'm not sure there's anyone who has quite as much knowledge of the National Academy of Engineering, so it's my pleasure to introduce him.
Thank you, Leah. Thank you. Good morning. And I'm not Hal Romig. He do bring his regards, his regrets. He is called to open another meeting of our Academy Search and Peer Committee at the very same time across town. But he sends his regards to everyone here. He will try to be here for as much of this as he can. But I do want to welcome all of you on behalf of our president, Dan Moat, to this building, to the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine, our new sort of combined identity, and this National Academy of Engineering workshop on the engagement of engineering societies in undergraduate engineering education. I do want to thank Leah for chairing this steering committee, for the rest of the steering committee members for their hard work in the sort of first phase of this, or guiding a lot of the fact finding that has served us as the basis, sort of one of the foundations for today's workshop, and for helping to plan and organize this workshop. I want to thank the National Science Foundation, and particularly Elliot Douglas, who's program director in the Engineering Education and Centers Division division, who's been a sort of strongly engaged and supportive of this effort. And I do want to thank Ken Jarbo, the project director, and the rest of my NAE colleagues, Carl Anderson, Sherry Hunter, and Jason Williams, for their pulling all the pieces together to help this event actually come off. I'd like to just say a few words about who we are. I know many of you have been here before and know a lot about the Academies, but some of you may not. The origins of this project and the sort of specific goals and objectives of this workshop. You can hear a lot more about that from Leah in a bit, but I just outline a few things. First, the Academy of Engineering was founded in 1964 as a sort of private, independent, nonprofit institution that provides engineering leadership for the nation. Our mission is to advance the well-being of the nation by promoting a vibrant engineering profession and by marshaling the expertise of the nation's eminent engineers to provide independent advice to the federal government on matters that involve engineering and technology. So the Academies, we have about 2,000 plus peer-elected members and foreign members who are really sort of leaders from industry, academia, the other sectors, government, other nonprofits. I think our distinctive, and the nature of engineering, our distinctive among the academies is that roughly 40 to 50% of our members are from industry or have had significant industry experience. These individuals really serve as the advisors. They control, oversee the sort of quality of the work of the Academy of Engineering and the work of the national academies more widely. They are very involved in our program activities and certainly in the oversight of, as I say, of the defining what we do and how we do it. We're part of this larger entity I mentioned at the outset, the Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine. These are two other peer-elected bodies, and we are part, or sort of share this part of the same congressional act of incorporation back from the Lincoln administration, where the academies at that time the National Academy of Sciences was directed to whenever called upon, as I say the language out of it, whenever called upon by any department or agency of the government to investigate, examine, experiment, and report upon any subject of science or art, and to do that without compensation. We've reinterpreted that a bit. Obviously, we rely on sponsors like the National Science Foundation and others to help support our work. But that is the basic charge of this institution. Really is to serve the nation and to marshal the expertise of our scientific, engineering, and health communities to do that. So every year we involve roughly 6,000 volunteers. We call them volunteers. We seek them out and ask specific individuals to serve on the various committees, projects that we undertake here at the institution. And these include our members, but also 6,000, that's more than our membership can show up for these sorts of things in one year. So we involve a lot of emerging leaders in these various fields from the various sectors of society, and in our activities. We produce probably a couple hundred consensus reports every year, like a lot of other activity going on every day here. The Academy of Engineering studies and other activities are undertaken either independently, say as out of the National Academy of Engineering's program office or jointly with various parts of the National Research Council or the other parts of the National Academies. And we do a lot of work, with them, with other parts of the institution related to engineering in whether it's workforce education or the application of engineering to various societal challenges. There are two major thrusts to the NAE's program activities, and those are first, ensuring engineering talent, and the second is really public engagement or understanding of engineering. This activity really is part of a broader portfolio of work that we're doing related to ensuring engineering talent, and that includes a whole series of convening activities, resource websites, consensus studies, and the like that are addressing issues of the education, formation, development of engineers from K-12 through, continuing through higher education and into lifelong learning. The origin of today's project stemmed from conversations with then EEC Director Teresa Maldonado back in 2014, who approached us about conducting a project, a study, or a survey effort that would help us understand better the sort of scope and nature of activities that the nation's engineering societies were engaged in support of undergraduate engineering education. This is really ABET and beyond, thinking more broadly beyond just their engagement, certainly in the accreditation activities. And that was one, so let's see if we can get a better handle on what they're doing. We know they're doing a lot of things, but we really there hasn't been a whole lot written about it, assessment done on it. And then once you do that, could you share that, what you learn with the community and seek to engage them in sharing their experiences and how they might work together and with their partners in industry and academia to play an even more significant role in undergraduate engineering education. So that is really the focus of this broader project. The first phase of the project involved a survey and other fact-finding efforts, really some interviews with a number of you, I'm sure, helped us with the surveys and some of the interviews. And that has provided the basis for a presentation you will hear today. And then this phase of the project really is focused on three things, really: sharing the information about the sort of current and potential efforts that societies are engaged in, to explore ideas on how societies can have a more effective role in undergraduate engineering education, and to consider opportunities for learning from each other, but for perhaps even for coordinated or cooperative action on the part of the societies with other partners in this charge. So today we're going to spend, we've got really quite a full day of discussions and presentations, very short presentations. You'll appreciate that are planned on what engineering societies are doing and sort of what societies can learn from each other. The focus really today is on getting the ideas out, on exploring the space, really making connections. So it really is on participation. It's really important for all of you to speak up. We've structured the day's proceedings in a way so there's ample opportunity for you to share your thoughts, to ask questions, to respond to with your own ideas. And we want to capture those. That's really the focus of today. And tomorrow, this is a newer concept for me, the unconference, but really you have the opportunity to shape what we're focusing on tomorrow. But I think that's an opportunity to dive deeper into to good ideas that have come forward over the course of today's discussions, and to spend more time exploring opportunities for collaboration and cooperation. So that is that's sort of the layout for the workshop proper. The output of the workshop will be more than a proceedings. There will be a proceedings volume. I see Steve Olson is here. So if you want to bend his ear, he's going to be helping us with preparing a proposed a summary of the proceedings. But the workshop will be followed by a series of other activities, other workshops, regional workshops that will try to take what we have learned over the course of the project to date and this workshop today and tomorrow to communities around the country to continue this dialogue and look for opportunities for cooperation. So with that, I turn the podium back over to you, Leah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Proctor. He was looking at me and smiling when he was going back to the history and the fact that this does date to the presidency of President Lincoln in the middle of the Civil War, because, you know, there's no telling when I'm going to go off and talk about how amazing it was that things like the National Academy and the Morrill Act and the Transcontinental Railroad all happened at a time of enormous change and stress in the country. But I'm not going to talk about that this morning. Maybe.